In every anime, there are moments that some characters' decisions are, well, in the very least, not the most brilliant ones. One Piece is, of course, no exception, as there were some moments that really made me wonder what the characters were thinking while doing them. Like that one instance where Luffy decided to eat a literal dead fish that just appeared on their ship. He didn't even bother asking if anyone knows whether that fish is poisonous or not. I mean, damn, at least, I don't know, maybe cook it first? But no, if Luffy sees anything that even remotely looks like food, then you better believe that he is shoving that thing in his mouth. He's not taking any chances of someone taking that food from him. Well, in this occasion, he was lucky enough that Reiju appeared. Otherwise, this would have been the lamest death any anime protagonist had in the history of anime. But something that was even more funny than that is the following. Back in Baratie arc, we saw Zoro challenging none other than Mihawk in a duel for the title of the world's best swordsman. And yeah, we all know how that one turned out. Mihawk was literally using a bigger knife to cut vegetables than what he used to fight Zoro. If you ever feel like you're overestimating your abilities, then please remember this instance of Zoro. My guy really thought he was ready to be the best swordsman in the world from just the 24th episode. I think he was a few thousand episodes too early. But you see, this next decision of Zoro is probably the worst of them all. Let's assume something real quick. You're Zoro, you don't know the difference between right and left. In your entire lifetime, you never went in the right direction, even by accident. You died and your soul got lost on the way to heaven, causing you to return back to life. You can't go on a straight path, even if your life depended on it. And what do? You decide to offer directions to other people as well. Yeah, you heard that one right. Back in Sabaody arc, everyone bowed in the presence of St. Charlos. Zoro being, Zoro, didn't even bother, and hence St. Charlos stared at him in disbelief. Well, Zoro's reaction was to say, quote, "You want directions or something?" Yeah, the delusion here is strong with this one. But wait, because there's more. All right, Zoro has no sense of direction. That's pretty much well established by now. Can anyone please tell me what Luffy was thinking in this case then? Back in Fishman Island arc, when Luffy was not sure where the ship was, he proceeded to ask none other than Zoro for directions. Thankfully, Sanji was with them, and as soon as Zoro gave an answer, Sanji made them go the exact opposite way. That's actually a cheat code if you ask me. You ask Zoro where he thinks the One Piece is, and whatever he says, you go the opposite way. One Piece is found in a day, end of story. Wait, was this a bad decision from the Straw Hats for not doing exactly that? Does this deserve a separate spot on our list? Even though that was a pretty bad decision, it's undoubtedly not as bad of a choice as people that choose to watch this video without clicking that subscribe button. So don't wait, fix it. Even though it's true that Zoro became a meme for his sense of direction, or better put, lack of it, the other thing that many One Piece fans observed with him is the suspicious selection of his opponents, where almost all of them share a common trait. Now, we won't get into the details about it, so if you know, you know. Well, the world government went and created the best opponent for Zoro to power up. What do I mean by that? Well, they cloned Mihawk, which, as we know, is the sworn enemy of Zoro, and the goal for him to overcome. If that was not enough, they designed Pacifista Mihawk in a way that Zoro would give 110% of his strength. So, yeah, not the best choice here from the world government. Next, let's talk about that one choice that actually made me kind of mad while watching it. Let's imagine you're Ace for a moment. An entire war was put in motion simply because you were captured. Many of your allies risked their lives to save you. They were severely injured, some even killed in the process. But in the end, after long efforts, they managed to set you free. But while you're running to escape, a random donut maker makes fun of your adoptive father. So instead of ignoring him, you try to protect his honor from trash talk. And what happens in the end? You end up becoming a donut. I'm sorry, Luffy, but it is what it is. Your brother became a donut, and he only has himself to blame for that. But since we mentioned the Marineford War, do you know which other character made me facepalm? Squard. That's because he decided to attack his captain, and in a sense, adoptive father, simply because the Marines were shouting some random nonsense to him. He went on to stab Whitebeard in the stomach. Thankfully, Whitebeard was the definition of built different, and hence, that did not stop him in the slightest from continuing the fight. That was pretty crazy, right? But how about that one time where the Marines were the ones that were, quite honestly, pretty stupid? You see, right after the time skip, Luffy returned to Sabaody Archipelago, where he encountered some Marines. Upon encountering Luffy, their response was, quote, "We came prepared to fight Straw Hat Luffy." You want to guess what they did? They went ahead and shot Luffy with normal bullets that, as we know, do not work on him due to his rubber body. Yeah, that's what I call coming prepared. Another Marine that his decision-making was, well, surely not the smartest, is Garp. That's because he gave his grandsons to be raised by a bunch of mountain thieves and criminals. Yeah, he came by and watched them from time to time, but you can't let kids be raised by these people and then wonder how 2 of them became pirates, and the other one joined the Revolutionary Army. Did he really expect his grandsons to become Marines like that? Since we previously mentioned the return to Subodhi after the time skip, let's mention another dumb decision that took place during that period. Due to the original Straw Hats' absence, some frauds decided to imitate them and try to take their position. Well, all I'm gonna say is that this ain't 1 piece of Straw Hats. This is 2 pieces Straw Hats. Did they really think that no one would see the difference? That's crazy, right? But not as crazy as Chopper's reaction when seeing them. Imagine being with your crew for so long and not recognizing that these people are not the real Straw Hats. Please explain to me how this lady is even remotely similar to Nico Robin, or this lady close to Nami, or even this dude like Luffy. And to top it all off, Chopper can recognize the Straw Hats based on their smells. So him not realizing that these are not the original Straw Hats is without a doubt a pretty bizarre moment. Now, when it comes to characters getting what they deserve, there are quite a few occasions like that. You see, Bellamy was messing around and challenging Luffy into a fight in order to pretty much simply show off. My guy even went on to ask Luffy whether he, quote, even knows how to throw a punch. Well, a single blow was all it took for Bellamy to reconsider and realize that this decision was surely not the best. And listen, I agree that Bellamy got what he deserved, but a moment that was even more fitting than that was this one case, where Kaido's men were wasting food in front of Luffy in Onigashima, even though they were not aware that Luffy was an enemy. Well, that choice for sure did not end up well for them at all, now did it? I mean, just ask this guy's spine. He'll confirm what I just said. But when it comes to characters messing with the wrong people, these mountain bandits in early One Piece could not have chosen a worse crew to mess with. Shanks allowed them to mess around in the bar, but as soon as they drew a gun, then that's where they crossed a line. All I'm gonna say is that they soon found out the hard way that some people should be left without being messed around with. Another decision that did not turn out that well was Mother Carmel taking in Lin Lin when she could in no way control her. According to some sayings, some bad choices in life might return to bite you later on. Well, this particular choice, in a sense, did more than a simple bite to Mother Carmel, as Lin Lin ended up eating her as a whole. I guess this made Mother Carmel a simple caramel. But speaking of young Lin Lin going berserk, this choice of Yorul was also quite poor. You see, Yorul decided to attack in his efforts to stop her, and my guy did not even last 1 second against her. Even though most of these choices take place in the canon story, other choices were present in the movies. Did you know that in the One Piece movie Heart of Gold, this girl named Olga tried to take Luffy as a hostage? Of all the people there, she really thought that Luffy was an easy target. At least for her, Luffy was in no mood to fight, and hence, even gave her food to eat afterwards. But speaking of kids, well, Ulti's decision to attack Tama in front of both Nami and Big Mom was surely not the best. Nami wanted all the smoke after that, but even if Nami did not take care of Ulti, you can be sure that Big Mom was about to end Ulti on the spot. Next, let's talk about Oden's decision to reject the help from Roger in solving the Kaido issue within Wano. You see, Oden saw that something was wrong in the country, and even though Raleigh and Roger offered to help, Oden denied the offer in his efforts to resolve the issue as peacefully as possible. Well, what ended up happening instead is that thousands of people died, even more that were enslaved. His wife was killed, his daughter was forced to become an Oiran, his father was killed, people went hungry, and the amount of suffering that country went through was honestly beyond measure. Yeah, I get it. He tried to do what he thought was best for his country, but if he just accepted Roger's help, he could have easily defeated Kaido and his men without anyone dying in the process. But wait, because even though Oden made that mistake, you can be sure that it was not his only one. That's because he had the chance to attack both Kaido and Orochi while they were weak and reclaim his country back. Instead, he believed their lies and decided to go ahead with the dancing option. We know that he was again trying his best to resolve the situation as peacefully as possible, but at the end of the day, this gave Kaido the necessary time to assemble his army, grow stronger, and eventually make it almost impossible for Oden to defeat him. Next, let's talk about Blackbeard. Okay, I know that Whitebeard had no way of knowing that Blackbeard would betray them, but after taking him in as a kid, this turned out to be the most destructive move he's ever made. That's because Blackbeard went on to kill Thatch to steal the Yomi no Mi. He was the one responsible for Ace's execution, and in a way, the entire Marineford War happened because of him. That, as we know, was the reason that the Whitebeard pirates were completely disbanded ended as well. Since we mentioned Blackbeard killing Thatch, Ace's choice to go after Blackbeard on his own in order to take revenge for Thatch was just as equally stupid as him turning back to fight Akainu. I guess he never learns, does he? You see, even though everyone advised him against fighting Blackbeard on his own, Ace did not listen. He ended up losing. And that was also how the Marineford War came to be. This next decision was both epic, but also highly destructive. So I actually want to ask whether you think Luffy made the right choice here or not. The Celestial Dragons are the highest form of authority and power in the world of One Piece. Everything they say is a command to everyone else. They can literally destroy an entire country by simply giving the order. But Luffy being Luffy, he doesn't care about any of these. Hence, he went on to punch St. Charlos in the face after he shot Hachan. I'm not gonna lie, you can be sure I enjoyed that punch as much as it gets. It was a fitting reaction for Luffy's character, and a great way to teach St. Charlos a lesson. But the result of that was a buster call that almost caused the entirety of the Straw Hat crew to be annihilated. If it weren't for Kuma, then for sure that's what was gonna happen. So, was this a smart or a dumb move in your opinion? But speaking of decisions that are not certainly good or bad, I think this one deserves the #1 spot. If the Straw Hats made Zoro the navigator of the crew, then they would either find Bikini Bottom and die within a week, or find the One Piece within a week. There's no in-between option here. Click on this video where we discover Blackbeard's entire backstory, present, future, as well as possibly the way One Piece will end. Go on, click it.